Today we proudly present the completed signature table here at Anvil of War Gaming, the Volcanic Forge.
Anvil of War! Tackling terrain!
So today on Tackling Terrain, we're going to be unveiling our new signature table here at Anvil of War Gaming, the Volcanic Forge. So this table came about when we were trying to incorporate our theme on the channel, which is very, smiths and forge oriented. And we wanted to take that and sort of translate that into a terrain set. So what we did was we took the Necromunda Terrain Collection, which was graciously donated by one of our sponsors, Sequence Comics and Gaming in Brockville, Ontario. What they did was they gave us this set and they basically said, run with it, do what you want with it. So we decided to stretch the set a little bit and incorporate it into some of our own custom terrain. We took some insulation foam, some hardboard, and some sand, and we basically created each and every one of these pieces. We wanted to take something that really incorporated the dynamic of the channel, the whole smithy and forge kind of theme. So we took all of this material and we sort of created a volcanic planet. When we throw this on the table, we're going to be throwing it on top of the lava mat from Frontline Gaming. We kind of wanted a volcanic style of rock, so I played around with a few little techniques and figured out a way to kind of create the whole rocky texture on the foam. You can typically spray it with like an acetone based spray paint or something like that, and it'll eat away at the styrofoam. But I couldn't get the proper texture that I wanted using that. I couldn't get the same control and the ability to kind of blend the pieces and blend the different layers of foam into each other. So we're going to jump over to the forge really quick, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how we created this texture. In order to texture our foam to make it look like lava rock, we're going to need a few tools. So first thing that we're going to need is a foam cutter. So we've chosen to use the bow-shaped foam cutter. This allows you to give texture as you run through it. Second thing that we're going to need is a soldering iron. You can use the additional ends for the foam cutter, but if you really want to kind of rock through it, this definitely will save you time because it gets considerably hotter and you can just do more surface area at one time with this thing. You're also going to need to use a mask. Now when you're doing the texturing of the foam, if you're doing a full project, I don't recommend doing it indoors. You need to do it somewhere that is very well ventilated. So right now we have I'm sorry about the audio, but we have a fan blowing in the background and a ventilation system set up to basically push any fumes out the windows. First of all, we're going to have to get the relative shape of the project. So we're going to use our foam cutter, bow foam cutter, and we're just going to basically make the rough shape and round out the edges by getting rid of some of these edges, like so. And we just go back and forth in a sawing motion. All right, so once you have cut out the foam and got your overall shape that you wanted, this is kind of what it looks like. We've chosen to go for a little fatter and stockier rocks than we would do for like a Tor type pillar set. So we're going to be taking our soldering and we're going to basically just run it over the surfaces of the rock, and we're basically going to create that texture just using the heat. Again, one last time, disclaimer, please do this in a well ventilated area. I apologize if the audio isn't 100%, but we do have a lot of ventilation going on around us. So we're going to turn that on, let it heat up. As we run it along, you just want to make sure that you're really hitting any places where there's gaps from the foam. This will help actually create just a smoother transition and leave any of those defects from your gluing the layered foam together. Yeah, that'll just kind of correct that or mask it for you. So we're starting to get pretty hot. You're just gonna run it along the surface. Don't be afraid to push in a little bit in places, because you know you want some areas to be really rough, some areas to be smoother. If you're going for the volcanic look, you might want it to be a little more rough, so you might want to do either a second pass or just again push in a little more, apply a little bit more pressure. This is what we do. We just keep running it down like that. And you can see the texture starting to form really nicely. Yeah, we're just going to keep going like this. It's basically using the end of the soldering iron. We will be back when this is completed. And we're back, and that is the final product. This is what this is kind of what you want to achieve with the texturing and the soldering iron. So again, we just rubbed it basically all over the surface areas, any of the flat surface areas, and we just created that texture. You can use the end to just kind of stab in and basically create some little burn holes or melted holes kind of thing throughout it. Also to create some just some more definition to the rock. So that's how we got the sort of volcanic lava rock look to these terrain pieces. Again, we just incorporated the Necromunda terrain as we went. Basically, what I wanted to kind of go for was maybe a habitat or a mining colony that was kind of built onto these rocky structures to create sort of a mining for precious resources kind of feel. We wanted to sort of theme it with the Forge Bane box set, because we recently released the videos on this table where we've actually played out all of the scenarios in the Forge Bane campaign. So the whole premise of that campaign is based around Black Rock, and we wanted to have a sort of colony that was kind of sprout up on top of this planet, create this precious resource refinery. It also could be a Prometheum refinery based on the fact that it's a lava planet. But we basically took this beautiful Games Workshop terrain collection and made it our own. We wanted something that was really going to punch and stand out on the table. We're going to be showcasing this at local tournaments, sponsoring tables when we can, if we can. So without further ado, let's show you guys the completed table. The rocks have a very volcanic, sort of a magma rock kind of look to them. Went a little bit lighter than your typical volcanic lava rock. Otherwise it would be very black. So we tried to use the darker colors on the bases to really blend the terrain sets into the matte, but then the rocks kind of stand out with just a light gray dry brushing over top of a darker rock gray. We just wanted to have a little bit of a little punch to the rocks so they stand out, and also so that they contrast really well with the very heavy metallic paints that were used for all of the structures and all of the Sector Mechanicus parts that we implemented and combined with our custom terrain. As far as the glow effects, we basically wanted to have some light sourcing, so I used some oranges, basically custom made with a little bit of red and orange to make a little bit of a fiery glow effect, to have some light sourcing coming from the the lava pools, and to give us a little bit more variety to the color, because it's very metal and rock. It's very kind of dull colors, and then we wanted to tie in the set to make it really stand out as Anvil of War Gaming table. So we decided to use the yellow, golden yellow from our logo. Decided to put it over black instead of white so that it would have a little bit more of a faded kind of look to it. Really wanted it to be kind of battered and weathered, so we used salt weathering and kind of left it faded, and then used Agrax Earthshade to really kind of tie all the metal in and give it a little bit of an oily kind of feel to it. Some of the pieces are incorporating some platforms, etc., so we wanted to have some multi-level terrain available for infantry. There was two giant central pieces. The first one has a little bit of a magma pool underneath We tried to kind of color match. We used the leg structures for the platforms, which are traditionally used to hold the platforms up. But since we were incorporating them into the rocks, we didn't need to use as many. We wanted to incorporate we wanted to make it look like they had basically drilled in or dug into these rock formations and basically created either habitats or, you know, the forges are kind of within for whatever the material is that they're refining. And that's how we created the Volcanic Forge terrain set for our new table. We hope you guys enjoyed watching, and thanks for joining us.
Sponsored by...
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like our video, you can check out more of our videos on the screen or down below. Themed around the channel, which is very smithy, you know, forge, guys hitting stuff with things.